Alrighty, we are back with insider betting. Jesse, appreciate you joining me. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. I'm actually very excited for this one because this was like an unexpected fight. This was supposed to be Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. I'm very pleasantly surprised that it's Jake Paul versus Mike Perry. I mean, I love Mike Perry, so I'm just excited to talk about it.
Oh man, I'm pumped. Mike Perry's got like one of the best comeback stories, where he was kind of like, came out of the UFC and then he went on like a 5, maybe even a 6 fight win streak with bare knuckle boxing, and now Mike had to drop out of this fight. His phone rang and Perry took them up, and I think it's the fight he's earned.
Total journeyman in the UFC. He was just like, he was a fan favorite, like because of his personality, but he was never really like challenging for a title, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes into bare knuckle and he just becomes like one of the biggest combat sports stars in the world. He beats Michael Venom Page. He beats Luke Rockhold. He beats Eddie Alvarez. He's just beating legends in bare knuckle boxing, and he's earned this, and he's become a superstar, and I'm super happy for him, and he's going to get a great payday from it too. So
pump for him. Yeah. But anyway, we'll get more into that in a second. We have 2 other fights that are worthy to talk about on this card. First up, we got another ex-UFC star with Uriah Hall taking on Julio Cesar Chavez. Chavez is the favorite, or Chavez, sorry, is the favorite going into this fight. He's a minus 280 favorite. Uriah Hall is plus 215. Similar stories, Uriah Hall, another one of those kind of journeymen in the UFC. His last 2 fights were losses to Sean Strickland and Andre Muniz. He actually has had a fight in the boxing world as well. He fought Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
When was that? It was like 2022, I think.
Yeah, I think it was on a previous Jake Paul card, I think. I think it was when Jake Paul fought Silva. Or it was when Jake Paul fought Diaz. I forget which one it was, but I think it was on a Jake Paul card.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm pretty sure you're right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Uriah Hall, he has 13 knockouts in the UFC out of his 17 wins. And he beat Le'Veon Bell. It was both of their debuts. Le'Veon Bell has actually gone on to win his next 2 boxing matches. But I will say that they were probably less worthy opponents than Uriah Hall. So that's worth mentioning. But Chavez Jr., he's legit, bro.
Yeah.
It's not a light matchup. He is 53-6-1. Out of his 53 wins, 34 came by knockout. He's been knocked out twice. He's from Sinaloa, Mexico, and we know how much Dana White has been talking about how good Mexican fighters are. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is probably the biggest test for an ex-UFC fighter against a boxer.
Yeah, it might be. It might be, to be honest, just in terms of quality of opponent. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting, but something, it just an interesting fight overall. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Who are you leaning towards here?
Well, so this was actually supposed to be Darren Till. I'm just remembering right now. Darren Till was supposed to fight on this card. He was supposed to fight Chavez, and then he had a visa issue, got replaced by Uriah Hall. So either way, Chavez was going to be fighting a former UFC striker. So that was set in stone. I think that this is it's going to be tough for a UFC guy to beat somebody who grew up in boxing the way Chavez Jr. did. I mean, this is like, and I also think you're pretty at minus 280. I know it's like kind of heavy. I think that like in boxing, those are like kind of decent odds nowadays because of how often there's like a heavy favorite. I would consider Chavez on the money line here, or throwing Chavez into a parlay. I do think he's going to beat Uriah Hall. I think he'll just get outboxed. Like, even if Hall might have more power, I just think he'll get outboxed. I would absolutely throw Chavez into a parlay though, at minus 280. I think that's a good bet.
Yeah, I wish DraftKings had a parlay, or no, sorry, not a parlay. I wish they had a like a prop bet for rounds.
Yeah, they don't have one. Yeah,
they don't have anything. But I would take the over. So if you are using a sports book that has a round bet, take the over. I don't know what the line's set at, but I just feel like I don't think Uriah Hall is going to get knocked out. I just think it's going to get pieced up, and it's probably going to go to decision. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, we have the typical boxing boxing stat line up next. we have Amanda Cerrone versus Stevie
Serrano,
Morgan.
Amanda Serrano.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Amanda Serrano. She's coming in as a minus 4,000 favorite, dude. Why even make the fight?
Yeah.
She's already legit. She fights on basically every card that Jake Paul's on. She wins on every fight that Jake Paul's on. It's like, what's the point?
So
just
I don't want to
to
spend too
hammer
much time on
someone?
this. I don't want to spend too much time on this just because you're right. What is the point? I will say this was supposed to be Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor rematch, which the odds would have been much closer. That would have been like that. Those would have been close to 50-50 odds. Like maybe somebody would be like a minus 180 favorite at most, I would guess. I mean, I'm not touching this bet with a 10-foot pole, but that was supposed to be Serrano versus Taylor. So this is really just a warm-up fight for Serrano before the Katie Taylor fight happens on the Mike Tyson card that is supposed to be happening in November. Yeah. So Jake Paul is supposed to fight Mike Tyson again, and Serrano versus Katie Taylor is supposed to happen on that card. So that's what I would say. Yeah. Bet on them getting to that fight. Don't bet on this fight. So.
Yeah, and I guess one more thing to mention is you brought up Darren Till earlier, and it sounds like he might be on that card as well. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he is. That's what if his visa issue gets resolved, right?
Correct. But anyway, the main event, we got Jake Paul versus Mike Perry. Jake Paul's the minus 425 favorite, and Mike Perry's plus 300. Massive disrespect for Mike. But I kind of understand it. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I agree with the odds. I think that if you think that like Mike is being disrespected, I think that you're kind of disrespecting Jake a little bit in the fact that Jake's actually like he's a real boxer now. I mean, whether you want to admit it or not, he kind of just is a real boxer at this point. But I will say I think that this is the toughest test. Like I think in terms of an opponent that's not going to go down easy. I think his last couple of boxing opponents went down pretty easy. Let's just be honest. I mean, like they were first round knockouts. Has he fought anybody since he knocked out Ryan Borland? I don't think he has, because he was supposed to fight Mike Tyson, and then that was the next fight. So his last couple of fights against boxers and his first round knockouts, they were just very easy wins for Jake. This is a real tough one. Mike Perry has a hell of a chin. But no, I think the odds are correct. I think Jake Paul should be a favorite. I just think that Mike Perry's a real live dog here, I would say.
Yeah, I agree that Jake should be the favorite. I just feel like being such a like what is it, like a 4-1 favorite, a 3-1 favorite is like very heavy, considering that Mike Perry, considering his past experience, considering he went to bare knuckle and proved that he can box as well, going 5-0 there, I think it was. Yeah. Yeah, I think Mike's biggest disadvantage is like the height difference going into this fight, but shouldn't stop him, you know.
No, I agree with that. I think that Perry, there's a size advantage here that Jake has. Jake is clearly the bigger guy. His only loss is to Tommy Fury, which some people would say he might have won that fight. But Tommy Fury is not like a great fighter or anything like that. I just think that Jake has the resources to spend money on his he spends like we interviewed him once, and he says he spends like $500K on his training camps. So he's really invested in this. And like, look, a lot of guys that watch this take are going to be pissed off that I'm saying it, but I actually like do respect the commitment he's made, whether he's on steroids or not. You know, I think a lot of people believe that he may be taking out, but I think he's taken a real commitment to boxing. I think he's like a legitimate boxer now. Do I think he's going to be a world champion? I don't know. But do I think that he should be the favorite against Mike Perry? Yes, I do. But I don't think Perry's going to go down easy. I have a couple of bets here that I'm going to throw in. Did you add them, by the way, or should I just show them right now?
I think they're in here. Let's
okay. Yeah. So this is where I think you're going to be making your money. So I do think there's a chance that Perry gets dropped. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think that I forgot to add him in that way. Sorry. There's a chance he could get dropped twice and Jake Paul would win. But I don't think that. But I think that actually there's a better bet here, because I think that Perry's he's gonna take a lot of damage. I actually think that by decision is the better one, because I don't think that Perry's just going to get knocked out. I think that there's a chance that he's just going to take a lot of damage, but he's just going to stay in there like a dog that he is. And I think that that's where you're going to make your money on this. Because I just don't think that Perry, even if he gets dropped, I don't think he's going to get knocked out. He has an amazing chin. The problem that I'm having for Perry winning the fight outright is that he doesn't have great defense. He likes to get punched in the face. He opens himself up to getting hit. I don't know if you can do that against a guy like Jake Paul, who really does have good power. So I would take Jake Paul by decision at plus 250. I think that's I don't think he's going to knock out Perry. Do I think he can? Sure. But I think that Perry's tough enough that he's just going to gut it out. He's going to be a dog like Nate Diaz, very similar kind of fighter. And he'll have his moments, but overall, Jake will win by decision.
Yeah, I like that take. I'd be shocked if Mike Perry gets knocked out. I really would be, especially considering like the difference between fighting with gloves and without gloves is massive. You know, it's like pillows on your hands, and obviously it still fucking hurts. But if he can survive those bare knuckle ones against also very legitimate opponents, I think he can go the distance with Jake as well, and that's how I see him winning too.
But I it's worth betting on some knockdowns, because I do think there's a chance he gets dropped in the fight. I just felt like you're actually getting better odds by betting on decision than by betting on knockdowns. I don't know. I just felt like it was. I just felt like it's more value, and it also feels a little bit more likely to me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You know what?
I can see Perry losing by TKO standing more than I could see him getting knocked out cold.
Yeah,
I guess
the 1.5 knockdowns, I'm a little iffy on personally.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if Mike gets knocked down a second time, it's done. You know, that's kind of how I see it going. But getting knocked down once, very likely I could see it happening as well.
Yeah.
But it's like something like that. I don't know if UFC fighters are like super like accustomed to like be able to go after being knocked down, because usually like once that happens in the UFC, you ground and pound and it's game, you know? So I don't know if he'll be like, if he gets knocked down hard, if he gets back up and gets knocked down again, it just might be too difficult to get back up, you know, because it's not what he's used to in the past. But anyway, these, believe it or not, those 3 fights we just discussed are probably the 3 most exciting fights this weekend. But we do have some UFC this weekend. Unfortunately, just not much to be excited about. To open up the main card, we got Choi versus Bill Algeo. Choi is actually, so out of his 14 wins, he's got 11 knockouts or TKOs, which is very impressive. But his 3 of his last 4 fights he's lost, and that most recent fight against Kyle Nelson, he actually drew. So he hasn't had a win in his last 4 fights, and his last win came back, ready for this, July 8th, 2016. The guy hasn't won a fight in 8 years. But before that, he was 11-1. Like he was hot, you know? So super unfortunate turn of events for him. Like he's not been active enough. He's really struggled. It's so hard betting on a guy who's coming in the underdog. He's plus 140 going into this fight. It's so hard to bet against him or to bet for him. Right. I think that Bill Algeo has to be just my bet based off of that. But to be fair, his most recent loss has also been against Kyle Nelson. Algeo has high volume at just over 6 strikes per minute. And I feel like this fight has either KO or decision written all over it. I guess we'll have to see what happens.
What was keeping him out for so long? Oh, he took a 500-day hiatus.
Yeah, so he went from 20. So he fought Cub Swanson in 2016, and then he took a break till 2018 to fight Jeremy Stephens, and then keep in mind, it was 2018 in January when he fought Jeremy Stephens. And then he fought Charles Jourdain in 2019, but that was in December. So that was almost another 2 years before taking on another fight. And then from there, he didn't fight Kyle Nelson until 2023 in February. So it was another 3 years there.
So I
So
guess I'm remembering this now. So I guess in their fight against Kyle Nelson, he was wrongfully deducted a point for a headbutt, which caused the
correct.
fight to end up in a draw. Dana White ended up rewarding him with a win bonus. Um, Super interesting. And it's also very good odds for Bill Algeo, just considering he's up against a guy that hasn't won in 8 years.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good odds to go up against a guy like that. I'll be honest, this feels like a total coin flip to me, but the fact that he lands more strikes per minute, better takedown defense, better reach, I will take Algeo. I think that you're getting good enough odds to go up against a guy who hasn't won a fight in 8 years.
I think so too.
Yeah.
He also has a bit of a reach advantage. He's got a bit of a height advantage. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things going in his favor. But anyway, we won't talk about this fight too long. Before we talk about Cody Durden and Bruno Silva, though, very special announcement from our good friends at DraftKings. We will be right back to insider betting, but first, we have partnered up with DraftKings. The Open Championship starts today. If you place a small $5 bet as a new customer, they will give you $150 in bonus bets. And as a bonus from insider betting, I will give you some of my Open Championship picks at the end of this episode. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code INSIDEFIGHTING to get access to that promo. We're back, baby.
Yes,
That was
sir.
nice little ad read from DraftKings. Dude, $150 in bonus bets.
Yeah. Are you
Money.
a golf guy? Are you a golf guy?
I started golfing a couple years ago. This
Yeah.
year I've noticed, for me, when I went golfing, it was always, can I hit the ball?
Yeah.
And that was always my problem. And now this year I'm finally like consistent and I've gotten better at, hey, which club do I use?
Yeah.
And now I have an idea of like, okay, when I hit my 5-iron, it goes this far. If I drive, it goes this far. And now I can play the game a little more now. What about you? You golf?
I'm a huge golf guy. I literally I'm in a Wordle golf tournament right now. We do Wordle golf for every golf master. I play golf like once a month. So I will be locked in. I'll be betting on the Open Championship. Whenever there's a major in golf, I'm super into it. So I'm excited.
So you know what? My Open Championship pick doesn't even count. We're gonna wait till the end of the episode, but you'll be the one to give the fans a little Open Championship bet. See what they can sprinkle on.
All right.
Little $5 bet on, so that way they get 150 in bonus bets. But anyway, Cody Durden versus Bruno Silva. Another interesting fight over here. Both are extremely well-rounded. Cody Durden is coming off of a loss to Tagir Ulan. OV last name.
Yeah.
But then he was on a 4-5 win streak before that. But before that 4-5 win streak, he actually lost to Muhammad Mokaev. And I believe both of his losses came by knockout as well. Or he got subbed last fight. He got subbed both fights, but I think he got knocked down to kind of go into that sub in there. But anyway, Durden averages an insane 4.84 takedowns per 15 minutes, but Bruno Silva still averages a solid 257. This fight feels like it's going to go to decision, if I'm being honest. I think it kind of goes two ways. I think that Durden should be able to out-wrestle Silva, keep him on the ground, get ground control, take it to decision, and just win purely based off of that. But I think that if Bruno Silva catches him, I think it's kind of game for Cody Durden there. But yeah, I don't know if you have some different thoughts there.
No, I mean, I agree with that. I think that you're getting pretty good odds on Durden just because he's kind of a favorite in most categories, even though it's pretty close, obviously. Oh, no, that's not true. Silva lands more per minute than Durden does. It's close. I think it's a coin flip fight. I like Durden. Also, I'm a little biased because we just interviewed him. So whenever we interview somebody, I always get a little biased towards it. But I don't know. I like Durden. He's one of those guys that could really go on a run if he sort of puts it all together, because he does have really good wrestling and he's clearly a very physical fighter. So I think that anytime a guy's like that, they have a chance of going on a run. It's got to happen soon, though. He's 33, so this is like the time for him to do it.
I agree.
I like him. I would actually maybe consider putting him as a lock, but I haven't seen the odds on the rest of this card yet, so I can't say for sure.
Yeah, this is actually one of those fights that I don't really want to bet on, to be honest. Because again, Durden should win. I agree. It's just if he gets caught, we might see a different result. But anyway, on to the next fight of the night: Kenan Khrushchevsky versus Kurt Holobaugh. I'm not sure. Holobaugh.
Boy, this card.
I was watching some analysts in it, and he was talking about how like people used to like comment on Kurt's. It looked kind of like a receding hairline, but then it's actually just a birthmark. For anybody wondering, because he called out some analysts. Like I don't know if it was his last fight or a few fights before that, but he was like, "Hey, for everyone like commenting on this, it's a fucking birthmark, guys." But anyway, we have Kurt coming in as a plus 110 underdog. We got Kenan coming in as a minus 130 favorite. Kurt's coming off of a loss to Trey Ogden, while Kenan is also coming off of a loss, but he was actually on a 6-fight win streak before his loss. And I'll put the little caveat in there is in those 6 fights, somewhere in there was also a no contest, but I don't count that as a loss or a win. So I just continue a 6-fight win streak. On paper, both seem to be very good very similar strikers. Khrushchevsky has good takedowns, averaging 2.18 per 15 minutes, so per fight. But Khrushchevsky's first loss was in the UFC. So his last fight was his like UFC debut, I believe, and that was a loss. I'm kind of leaning towards Kurt. He's got 7 KOs and 10 subs in his 20 wins. I think this one is not going the distance. Considering that, another thing I should mention is for Khrushchevsky, he's got 4 knockouts and 9 submissions in his 15 wins. So it just seems like decision is not really on the cards here.
I mean, 17 of Holobaugh's wins are by finish. So I agree with you, and I think that Khrushchevsky feels a little bit like a. Like he might be like a little bit of a 4A fighter, although it's hard to say for either one of these guys. But he has a lot of Holobaugh has a lot of experience in the UFC. But I will say some of his losses are against good fighters like Leone Barcelos, Shane Burgos, Thiago Moises. Like those are against good quality fighters. Khrushchevsky hasn't really been tested yet. He might be a 4A fighter, like a guy that's like good enough to make the UFC, not good enough to succeed in the UFC. I like Holobaugh here. And what are the odds?
I'm also taking the underdog. Yeah. Plus 110 for Holobaugh.
Yeah.
I feel like it's good. Considering his experience, I thought it was, like the other, he's 30, the other guy's 33, right? Like Kenan 33. Yeah. It's only his 2nd fight in the UFC, but I think it's a little disrespectful to like put like Holobaugh's been through it, you know? He shouldn't be the underdog here, but it should be, if anything, even odds, I think. But yeah, I'm coming in with Kurt as well.
I like it. I think that's fine. It's also, I don't think, I will be honest, I don't think I'm going to throw a bet on it, if I'm being honest. But if I were, I would lean Holobaugh just because I think that it's like, it's a more sound financial investment, I guess, is how I put it. So we'll see.
I feel that. Feature fight of the night: Steve Garcia versus Sungwoo Choi. Again, it's the odds makers seem to really like the KO and TKO in this one. I don't know the exact odds on it, but Steve Garcia is, out of his 15 wins, 12 have been by knockout. Sungwoo Choi, he's got 6 knockouts and 5 decisions to make up his 11 wins. So he's a little bit more on the fence here. On paper, it looks like their grappling is like somewhat similar, but I believe that Steve Garcia does take the edge based on like takedowns. Steve Garcia also has a win over Chase Hooper, who's like one of the UFC's like up and coming prospects. I'm going with Steve Garcia here by KO or decision, which is a little foreshadowing to my parlay later on, but you can get that at minus 125. So it gets you a little bit better odds. And I do think he's going to win.
Yeah. So is this, is Sungwoo Choi, is he the guy that won Road to the UFC? I believe he is. I'm looking it up right now. He's out of Korea. Steve Garcia is good, man. Like he's got some experience. He has a lot of knockouts. I don't know. This is a tough one because I just don't know enough about Choi. He hasn't really been tested yet. And
I
when a
mean,
guy hasn't been like,
yeah. I was gonna say he did fight Julian Erosa, who was on last week's card, and he does have a win over him, and he's also got a loss over Evloev. So he has been like somewhat tested, just like not a ton and not recently either. His Evloev fight was 2019, and his Erosa fight was 2021.
oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of a totally different guy. Yeah. Okay. This is tough for me. I think that it's close. I think I like Garcia though, and I think that considering he's like got a power advantage, 12 of his 15 wins have been by knockout. I think you do have to look towards TKO in this fight, KO or TKO in this fight. A lot of yeah, I think KO is the bet. I think you're right. Yeah, he does have a win over Julian Rosa, but that was also 5 years ago, you know? So, no, sorry, 3 years ago.
3 years ago, but still too
It's
far to like be that relevant. And Julian Rosa is also not like this end all be all, right?
Yeah. I like Steve Garcia here. I wish I did a little more research on this fight because I don't know for sure, but I just think that he has better wins over more quality opponents, and he's more experienced. So,
anyways, for our co-main event of the night, we got Jung Park versus Brad Tavares. Brad has, it seems like, great takedown defense at 81%. But it does also seem like Park has a very slight grappling advantage with 1.83 takedowns per fight as opposed to 0.78. They're both great strikers. Tavares has been in the UFC for a long ass time. He's fought some champions. He like one of his most recent losses was against Dricus Duplessis. He is coming in as a plus 136 underdog versus a minus 162 favorite. Andre Muniz, John Young Park, his most recent loss was against Andre Muniz. And he also gave up, I believe, 11 takedowns in that fight. But don't quote me on it. So the question is, can Brad take advantage of that and take him down? And can Brad avoid getting hit? Because I think he's been knocked out a couple times recently. And when that happens, after you've been in the UFC for so long, you just kind of like, you lose your chin a little bit. And so if he gets hit clean, he's done. I just don't think John Young Park has that in him. I don't think he's going to hit him clean. Like, he's only got 5 knockouts in his 17 wins. So I don't think he's I don't think he's knocking out Brad Tavares. So I'm leaning towards Brad here.
Yeah, I mean, Brad's like, he's got that Hawaiian fighters, mentality, the Hawaiian heat. I love Jung Young Park. He's hilarious. His nickname's the Iron Turtle. He's a great, he dances when he wins and stuff. He's a lot of fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Tavares is definitely nearing the end here. He's 36. I do think you're getting really good odds on Tavares. I feel like the odds are so tempting. The odds are very tempting, and I think taking him on a money line bet might be the way to go here, especially if your stat is correct that he was taken down, that Park was taken down 11 times in his last fight, because Tavares will definitely implement that. If that's an opportunity for him, he will implement takedowns. Yeah, this is landed per minute. You know what? No, I'm going to go with Park. I feel like he's got a little bit of a run in him here, and I feel like Tavares might be on the way out. I feel like there's more juice behind Park. I also just like the guy. I wanted to win. I don't have good analysis for this one, if I'm being honest. I just like Park a lot.
Yeah, I'm looking this up right now, and the stat was correct. He was Andre Muniz took him down 11 times in the last fight.
Well, his takedown defense is bad. It's 57%. So
correct.
Yeah.
But for Brad Tavares, I think, 13 decisions out of his 20 wins.
Yeah.
So if this fight is how I think is going to go, is takedown, 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 keep him on the ground, ground control, take it to decision 3 rounds. If he can just outwork him, right? Like that's what it feels it comes down to here.
Right. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering why they have Park as as a favorite like this when Tavares is. I don't know. I'm just wondering if there's something I'm missing here. So
Yeah, probably something I'm missing. You're going with Park, so
yeah.
yeah.
No, I know that's sort of why I changed my mind, is because it feels like he beat Marc-Andre Barriault, lost Anthony Hernandez. He's fought some good guys. Yeah, I'll take Park. He's got some momentum. Plus, I want to see him win.
Fair. Anyways, main event of the evening: Amanda Lemos versus Virna Jandiroba. There we go. She gets picked on a lot. I won't say why, but I'll let you make that guess, which is kind of unfair to her because she's a great fighter. I do think she's going to win this fight. I'll start with that. I think that if Lemos can't keep the fight on her feet, there's no way she wins. And I just feel like Jandiroba is going to shoot the takedown over and over and over again. Jandiroba is, out of her 20 wins, 13 have been by submission. For Lemos, 8 of her 14 wins have been by KO or TKO. So it's like a very clear striker versus grappler matchup. And yeah, I don't know. I'm going with the grappler here. She's on a 3-fight win streak. Her only losses come by decision. Amanda Lemos' most recent one was against Mackenzie Dern, who I don't think has been too hard recently, or I could be wrong with that. But yeah, I'm just leaning towards Jandiroba here.
Lemos has really good boxing. Very good boxing. I mean, she was piecing up Mackenzie Dern when they fought. It's funny they gave her another grappler back-to-back, piecing her up, almost knocked her out multiple times. Almost got submitted at one point, though. And that's important to note because she definitely showed a clear deficiency in some of her ground game, but she was really good at she did a good job of getting back up. I think was like what was really important. And Mackenzie Dern is an excellent grappler. That's that is her strong suit, is her ground game. I actually think I like Lemos here, and I think that you're right in terms of Virna is going to shoot for the takedown constantly, which leads me to believe that I think I want to bet on decision, because I don't think this is going to go. So I think if I could bet Lemos by decision, I think that's a pretty good bet. Wow. I know we're disagreeing on this here, but I do like Lemos. You can talk for a second. I'm just looking up what it would be for decision. Sorry, hold on.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I totally do. Oh, you're good. I think that Jandiroba, she's I think that she's a much stronger grappler, at least in recent times, compared to Mackenzie Dern. So if Mackenzie Dern almost made her tap, then I think that Jandiroba could get the tap to happen, you know?
Right.
So that's where I'm going at here.
No, it's funny because to win by KO or TKO is a plus 215. To win by decision is plus 500. They don't believe that Lemos will get a submission. Neither do I. They don't believe Jandiroba would win with a KO. It really leans Jandiroba by submission or Lemos by knockout. But yeah, I think decision's a good one, if I'm being honest. Plus 500 for decision. I would actually wager a little sprinkle bet on that. Just because I think that there's a chance that Lemos is going to outpoint on the feet and then do a good enough job of getting back up when the takedowns come in. Now, I might be selling Jandiroba short here. I might be. There's a good chance that I am. But I just like the way that Lemos has performed in her last fights. She doesn't get finished. She's really good. She rolls with the punches. And like, she got taken down a lot by Weili Zhang when she lost for the title, but like, that happens to everybody. Everybody gets taken down by Weili Zhang. So this is, as far as I'm aware, Weili, from what I've seen so far, I do think Zhang is a better grappler than Jandiroba. So I think that Lemos will do enough. If I were to bet by decision, I think by decision, that might be my sprinkle bet of the night, plus 500.
Nice. Yeah,
but
I struggle seeing like when you have a striker versus grappler matchup. I struggle seeing the striker winning by decision. I don't know how common that is. Maybe I'm wrong.
I get it.
But yeah, I feel like if it goes to decision, Jandiroba is just gonna have so much time on the ground that it's just gonna be like it'll have to win by decision there. But we'll see what happens.
Vegas
We'll
agrees
see
with
what
you
happens.
too, and it might be a case where UFC wants Virna to win anyway because Lemos already got her title shot, so they might
They want
want.
someone new.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, little parlay going here for you. Last week's parlay did not hit. It was very unfortunate. Did not go our way. But it's always a new week. We got $150 in bonus bets this week. So let's see what happens. Jandiroba, like I mentioned, grappler. I think you got to hammer the over on takedowns. So over 2.5 takedowns here at -115. I really do think it's fair game. I don't have the exact stats on how often Lima gets taken down, but I'd assume it's a fair amount. I'm going to pull up those stats right now, actually, just out of curiosity.
She got taken down a lot by Zhang Weili in the title fight. I remember.
So Duran took her down once, and Weili took her down 6 times.
Yeah.
And then Jandiroba had, she had 2 takedowns her last fight. She had 3 takedowns the fight before, 3 before that. So we could see something happen here, but over 2.5, I think is fair game. Steve Garcia by KO, TKO, DQ, or decision, -125. Again, this is really just hammering Garcia to win. I don't see him winning by sub. Like I mentioned, 12 of it is 14 wins were by knockout or KO, or by knockout or TKO. I think he's going to keep the streak going. And Cody Durden versus Bruno Silva, I think it's probably going to the distance. So I got it at over 2.5 rounds at -210. We're plus 396 total. So $100 gets you 496. Jesse, I feel like you're going to say I'm going to miss this parlay again. What are your thoughts?
No. Well, what's good about this parlay is it doesn't affect any of my picks. I think there's a chance that Virna Jandiroba could get 3 takedowns and still lose. I think there's a chance that could happen. I could see her getting 3 in one round, if I'm being honest. Like I could see that happening and then her getting dropped the next round or something like that. So I think Steve Garcia is a good one. Did I pick Steve Garcia? I don't remember. Who was he against?
Steve Garcia was fighting Sungwoo Choi.
Yeah, no, I'm going with Garcia. I like it. I think that you're right on the money here. I like the parlay.
Yeah, I think the Cody Durden Bruno Silva is going to be like the biggest what if, but we'll see what happens, I guess.
That's true. That
but
one,
anyway,
there could be some violence in that one.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, I think we had some decent stats on that one as well. No, I actually don't have anything. Yeah, but we'll see what happens. Okay. Anyway, that's been Insider Betting. Jesse, I appreciate you joining me. I think we're probably going to stop going live. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But you guys just seem to watch these videos more when we pre-record them and then premiere them as opposed to going live. So let us know in the comments what you prefer. If you want us to go live, we're happy to do it. It's just we want you guys to be watching these. So there we go.
Well, it's fine. I'm looking forward to the Perry fight. This card. Yeah,
I'm probably not watching too much UFC this weekend, I'll be honest.
I'll be watching the Perry fight.
Yeah,
I'll definitely.
Yeah. Awesome, brother. Okay,
all right, bro.
Appreciate you. We'll talk next week.
Sounds good.
Peace.